Okay, are we ready? Chalo. So, 1 minute just, huh, children. Chaliye. So, in our last class, we covered about velocity, and we said velocity is the ratio of displacement over time. We covered this, and then we said this velocity in kinematics will be of two types. There would be one which is known as initial velocity, and there would be one which is known as final velocity. So this is denoted by u and this is denoted by v. Okay, velocity is a vector quantity. Then we also understood what is uniform velocity. पूरा graphs बहुत detail में पढ़ेंगे, whether it is there in NCERT, CBSE or not. Graphs are a part of grade 9. Your counterparts in Cambridge know how to solve graphs. This is the most important part. चाहे आपके स्कूल में क्वेश्चंस आए नहीं आए, otherwise in 11 you will be limping very badly on graphs. ठीक है, graphs में हम बहुत time spend करेंगे. So initial velocity, final velocity. Then we also discussed about what is uniform velocity, what is non-uniform velocity. After that, we came to another term called acceleration, and we just had a little bit of a glimpse. What is acceleration? Acceleration is rate of change of velocity. वेलोसिटी कहता है डिस्प्लेसमेंट क्या है विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू टाइम, मींस रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट, रेट ऑफ लेबर एवरी मंथ पे मी 2000 रुपीज. वेलोसिटी रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट एवरी यूनिट टाइम कितना डिस्टेंस यू आर कवरिंग. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग नाउ? Now acceleration is rate of change of velocity every unit time. How much velocity is changing? Are you getting it? It's all about change. So acceleration is said to be velocity over time. So instead of writing velocity, we'll write change in velocity over time. And this is also known as, ये terms आपके मुंह पे रहना चाहिए, rate of change of velocity. These things should be at your lips. Rate of change of velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is known as rate of change of displacement. Unless and until you read it this way in class 11, you won't be able to understand it. Rate of change of displacement, rate of change of velocity. Okay? Now, so rate of change, and I told you there is a word called delta. Delta means change. Okay na? So difference, the difference value. So velocity will be written as delta s over delta t. In delta t time, how much distance did I cover? Take displacement. Okay, let's say my initial displacement s1 is equal to say 5 meters. My final displacement s2 is equal to 10 meters. And out here, I suppose I write this was in t1 and this was in t2. Then what is the delta s? The delta s will be always final minus initial, which will be equal to 10 minus 5 equal to 5. And what is delta t? Delta t is again t2 minus t1. Delta hamesha final minus initial, not bara minus chota. Don't go by bara minus chota. Final minus initial. You scored 10 marks in your first unit test. In your next unit test, you scored 5 marks. Your performance went down. So what will we say your difference is? Your difference is minus 5 now in the next one. Final minus initial. Sir, in time it is always in time always it will be bigger minus smaller because time increases. Time never comes back. Always remember that. Okay? So how do we write acceleration? A we will write as delta v over delta t. Understood? Delta v over delta t. Now if you look at delta v is change in velocity. So what is change in velocity? We will say change in velocity is final velocity minus initial velocity, which gives me v minus u. तो अगर हम इसके फॉर्मूला को देखें, a should be equal to v minus u by delta t. And this delta t, sometimes people will write, if delta t is written as t, let the value of delta t be t, then a is equal to v minus u by t. Few formulas that so far you have learned. Okay, so far you have learned. Let us keep a track of those also. हमने अब तक क्या क्या सीखा है? Number one, we said that speed is equal to distance over time. This is a very basic thing that you have learned. Number two, we also learned about average speed, which is given by total distance traveled divided by total time taken. ठीक है, ये दो था, स्पीड और एवरेज स्पीड. इसके बाद हम आए वेलोसिटी में. वेलोसिटी इज ऑलवेज टेकन एज डेल्टा एस ओवर delta t. Many people will also write it as s by t, means s is the value of delta s. What is the difference? The difference is s. Difference. Then came acceleration. Acceleration a is given as v minus u by t. This is also written as 12 जाते जाते 11 जाते जाते आप ऐसे लिखेंगे delta v by delta t. Have you understood?
What is g?
जी नहीं, ए है बेटा. से इतना लिख लीजिए, इसको बहुत बार पढ़ेंगे अभी आगे चल चल के. इतना लिखिए, फिर और आगे देखते हैं. Which one? Which one? हाँ, if you wrote, you write. Keep on writing it 5-10 number of times. Sorry. ठीक है, able to understand? We'll give some more examples. इस चीज को एग्जाम्पल के साथ समझना है. जितना एग्जाम्पल के साथ आप समझेंगे उतना आप सीखेंगे. तो हाउ टू सी वेलोसिटी? वेलोसिटी कैसा है? At first second I covered 5, second second I covered 7 meters. How much distance I covered? 7 minus 5, which is equal to 2 in 1 second. चलो सर ड्रॉ करके दिखाते हैं तो आपको समझ में आएगा. इसको मिटाओ थोड़ा सा. I'm rubbing this one off. Unless and until children you are clear about the topics, we will not move to numericals. वरना आप रटोगे. आपको क्लियर हो जाना है पूरा. चलिए एक बार फिर से देखते हैं वेलोसिटी की डेफिनेशन को. What is velocity? Velocity v is said to be s over t. ठीक है ना. हालांकि velocity दो होते हैं. You have got an initial velocity and a final velocity. Initial velocity is at initial instance of time. Now let's put this whole thing into our practice and see whether we are understanding velocity and acceleration or not. We'll take two graphs and we'll understand everything. Okay. So let's say t is equal to 1 second out here. t2 is say 2 second. t3 is say third second, in that way. Have you understood? This is the time scale. Our upper scale, we are saying that a body, and this is, let's say, if you don't get confused, okay, this is the displacement. This is the displacement scale and this is the time scale. ठीक है, समझ में आया? Let's say at the first second a body had covered 5 meters. At the first second body had covered 5 meters. So this is my S1 value. Got it? In the second second this body has covered say 7 meters, and these are all as measured from the origin. This is some start point. This is a start point from where I am measuring. So you covered 5. So this is my S2. Did you get it? ठीक है. अब जरा हम देखते हैं हमारी वेलोसिटी. तो सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस. ओके, सो लेट अस ट्राई एंड फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज द चेंज इन डिस्प्लेसमेंट. लेट्स से व्हाट इज डेल्टा एस. डेल्टा एस विल बी ऑलवेज इक्वल टू S2 minus S1. डू यू एग्री? व्हाट इज S2? 7 इन पॉजिटिव एंड 5 वाज आल्सो इन दिस डायरेक्शन. बहुत ध्यान देना है फिजिक्स में. ये इस साइड जाएगा तो पूरा कचरा हो जाएगा प्रॉब्लम. बोथ द it's going in one direction right now. Let's say the motion is in this direction. Okay, this is the direction of motion. Okay, so it's 7 minus 5, which is equal to 2 meters. Have you understood this one? Let's see what is the time difference for this. So delta t is equal to how much? T2 minus T1. How much is it? 1 second. So if somebody tells me what is the velocity from T1 to T2? T1 to T2, what is the velocity? So it is 2 divided by 1, which is 2 meters per second. अब आप इसको फील करो. यहां से यहां कितना सेकंड बीता? यहां से यहां कितना सेकंड बीता? यहां से यहां 1 second. Velocity is 2 meter per second. मतलब think that velocity is a maid. How is she charging you? For every 1 second, 2 meter paisa you have to give. So every 1 second, how much overall did you shift? 2 meters. Are you getting the feel or not? समझ में नहीं आया तो बोलो बेटा. See, you have to open your mouth. Otherwise, if you don't understand, ask. These topics will be tough to understand initially. Velocity, I am saying the feel of velocity. Velocity's feel is what? 2 meter covered every 1 second. So here to here, what is the time? 1 second. अरे यहां से यहां कितना टाइम हुआ? 1 second ना. इस 1 second में आप कितना दूर आए? 5 तो आ ही चुके थे और 2 आए हैं. 2 meters per second. Have you understood? So let us say now I am drawing another scale out here. Okay, this is another scale. Now just understand. Same, this story is now being taken here. Now let's say at T1, now this is a different T1. At T1 we got a velocity of say 2 meters per second. Have you understood? Now let's say from here to here body has covered, let's say 12 meters तक आ गया है, यहां से यहां तक. जरा स्ट्रेच में वेलोसिटी कैलकुलेट कीजिए तो कितना होगा? What will be the velocity at this stretch? S3 minus S2 divided by T3 minus T2. How much will it be? 5. So here we get this stretch velocity, we are getting 5 meters per second. Now we cannot give both the velocities as V and V. Now we bring our concepts. इसको initial velocity बोलेंगे. Let's say this is my initial velocity U. And what is this? This is my final velocity V. समझ में आया? Initial and final. यहाँ पर टाइम कितना था? 2 seconds. यहाँ पर टाइम कितना हो गया? 3 seconds. Right ना? So initial velocity T1 and then my velocity is 5 meter per second. And this is the time T2 where I know that the gap between these two is 1 second. The gap between these two is 1 second. Have you understood? Right? Let us now try to calculate what is the acceleration. कितना होना चाहिए acceleration? Delta V over delta T. Right? Acceleration is delta V over delta T. What is delta V? V minus U divided by delta T, which is 1 second. Delta T यहाँ से यहाँ देगा ना? 2 seconds. तो V minus U करेंगे तो कितना आएगा? 3 meter per second by second. Are you understanding? This is velocity, meter per second. This is another second.
3 meters per second.
3 meters per second square. समझ में आया? Got it?
Yes.
मतलब from here to here, now just imagine, what is the time elapsed from here to here? 1 second. 1 second. In 1 second, how much did the velocity change? 3 meters per second. 3 meters per second. Are you understanding? तुम्हारी वेलोसिटी यहां पे कितनी थी? कितना कैलकुलेट किया था आपने? 2 meters per second. I am right now at 2 meters per second. In the next second, my velocity increases by another 3 meters per second. What is my velocity now? 5 meters per second. कहां आया था? 5 meters per second. A feel समझ में आ रहा है? Are you getting the feel? Acceleration tells you at what velocity, at what rate your velocity is changing. Try to understand again. We said that let us take an example where the body is initially has moved a distance of 5 meters, so that all three becomes clear to you. And then at the second instance of time, the body has moved a distance of 7 meters. What is the change in displacement? 2 meters. And remember, everything is happening in a straight line because we have named the chapter as motion in a straight line. सब कुछ स्ट्रेट लाइन में ही हो रहा है. कर्व में ये सब फेल है, ये सब काम नहीं करेगा. तो 7 meters हो गया हमारा. 7 meters और 5 meters. What is the net displacement? 2 meters. टाइम कितना elapse हुआ सर 2 सेकंड और 1 सेकंड 1 सेकंड. So what is my velocity sir 2 meters per second. Have you understood how I got this velocity as 2 meters per second? Right? This is one calculation. After this 2 सेकंड से 3 सेकंड जाने में फिर 1 सेकंड हुआ. If I would have been at uniform velocity, what should have been my velocity out here? Tell me. 2 meters per second. Velocity. तभी कोई acceleration नहीं है, change नहीं है. Arav scored 10 marks in first term. In next term also he is scoring 10. Did you increase? Did you decrease? What is your growth? 0. What is your decline? 0. You are performing steady. If there was no acceleration, then how much did we find the velocity at this place? 2 meters per second. How much did we find the velocity here as 5 meters per second? Sir, velocity तो बदल गया. इसका मतलब velocity तो constant है ही नहीं. और जहां velocity constant नहीं है, this is your year. If you hear that velocity is changing, immediately you say that acceleration is born. ये चीज आपको 11th 12th kinematics जब भी पढ़ो, think that velocity has changed, acceleration is born. Now we have to see it in two perspectives. Velocity is a vector. It can change by a change in magnitude. It can change by a change in direction. अब इसका beauty देखो. I say that I have got an arrow and this is some divine arrow that I have. ये east जा रहा है 200 kilometers per hour and after some time it starts going towards his enemy. North जाता है 200 kilometer per hour. Has velocity changed? Yes. Yes. Direction has changed.
Should have changed by the between.
Whatever it is, direction has changed. No. Magnitude is same. Direction has changed. Vectors, anything, whether your magnitude changes or direction changes, the vector changes. This is a case of acceleration. Please understand. And the arrow somehow went later, slowed down to 100 kilometer per hour, still going in east. Acceleration, yes. Magnitude has changed. समझ में आ रहा है तो?
The retardation also comes.
We'll come to that. अब पहले इसको समझते हैं पहले. Have we understood what is acceleration? Acceleration is rate of change of velocity. Problems आप कर लेंगे. You will get lot of formulas and people. That is what every child does. Formula देखता है तर करके problem करता है. और थोड़ा सा देखते हैं. Let's see some more interesting values. आपको और मजा आएगा. Okay. अब सबको एक ग्राफ में करके देखते हैं. समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं हमें? Right? Okay. This is time. यहां से 0 से शुरू हो रहा है. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Sorry. Now try to understand. देखो समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Time graph. समझ में आया? And these are named as T0, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6 and so on. Right? यहां पे गाड़ी ने कवर किया है 5 मीटर. दिस इज माय डिस्प्लेसमेंट ग्राफ, टाइम ग्राफ. गाड़ी ने कवर किया है 5 मीटर. यहां गाड़ी चला गया है 7 मीटर. यहां गाड़ी कवर किया है 8 मीटर. यहां गाड़ी कवर किया है 14 मीटर, 16 मीटर और यहां चलते चलते से 18 मीटर कवर किया. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? राइट? Are we in a position to now comment on the velocities?
Yes.
Right. Let's see the velocities out here. Okay. Let's find the velocities at every stage. And I call this as my S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. Got it? Can I find this is my velocity part now. What should be the velocity here? Just here, what should be my velocity? 5 divided by 1. So 5 meter per second. So this unit will be in meters. This is in second. This is in meters per second. Don't get confused. This is denotion for displacement, denotion for time, denotion for velocity, unit of velocity, unit of displacement, unit of time. ठीक है? पहले समझिए इस चीज को. यहाँ पे कितना हो गया हमारा velocity? 7 meters per second. यहां पे कितना वेलोसिटी हो जाएगा? 8 meters per second. अच्छा, who is not able to understand? Sir, why didn't you write 7/2? No, every second.
By 2 meters.
Are we correct? Are we correct? What should be the velocity here?
Two, right?
What should be the velocity here? आप correct हो? सोचो सोचो सोचो.
2 meters per second.
हाँ.
Is it?
How much is the velocity here? This is say v1 is my velocity out here.
But it's increasing by 2 meters.
Okay. इसको v1 लेते हैं. v2 में कैसा रहेगा? How much is the increase?
2 meters.
2 meters. And how much is the time elapsed? 1 second. So from here to here, I will say, and how much is the distance here? Just try to see. 0 minus the distance displacement was 0. So 5 minus 0 gives you 5. Let's say this is S0 and this is T0. T0 तो लिख लिया है.
The second velocity will be 2 meters.
The second velocity would be how much? It would be the difference in the displacement. How much is the difference? 7 minus 5. 7 minus 5 is equal to 2 divided by 2 second minus 1 second, which is equal to 1. तो हमारी वैल्यू कितनी आई? 2 meters per second. Have you understood? थर्ड वाले में कैसा आएगा?
1 is 1 meter per second.
But again the question is, if you are saying 1 meter per second, the question arises, sir, where are you measuring the difference from? Look, when you are measuring this one, you are measuring the difference from here. If I measure this, if I measure another value I can get if I measure it from here to here, what is the displacement? 7. And from here to here, what is the time? 2 seconds. So the velocity should be how much? 3.5 meters per second. समझ में आ रहा है वैल्यू कैसे बदलता है? आप कहां से कहां डेटम ले रहे हो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. See, if you are concentrating on only this gap, okay, children, try to understand. If you are concentrating on only this gap, then what is your S2 minus S1? 7 minus 5, 2. What is your T2 minus T1? 1. So you got your velocity as this. But if you are concentrating on this gap, then what is your S2 minus S1? 7 minus 0, 7. And time will be equal to how much? 2 minus 0, 2. So velocity becomes how much? 3.5. ये सब आपको ध्यान में रखना पड़ेगा when you are doing problems. Are you getting it? Which scenario what? ठीक है. We will be now working on this one. So now let's calculate the acceleration here. So this becomes my initial velocity. This becomes my final velocity. My acceleration is given as final minus initial by the time that has elapsed. What is the final? 2 meters per second. Have you understood? What is the final velocity? Sorry, final is 2. What is the initial velocity? 5 meters per second. And what is the time that has elapsed? 1 meter per second. है ना? तो आपका एक्सेलरेशन कैसा आ रहा है? -3 meters per second square. -3 meters per second square.
1 and by.
Oh, 1 second, sorry. 1 second. So what is the acceleration now? -3 meter per second square. And that we will come to it. So acceleration negative भी आ सकता है. समझ में आ रहा है?
Does that mean it's going?
हाँ. So we will see that. We will see that. Hold on. So now we have to tackle these negative figures also. Have you by now got fair bit of idea of what is velocity and acceleration? ठीक है? Now let's see the difference of what happens when acceleration becomes positive, negative, or something. Okay? Let's see. First of all, let's understand a simple story, then you will understand this thing also very easily. Okay? I run a business where the business grows, my business grows annually at say 6%. The business grows annually at 6%. कोई नया चीज नहीं है. These things you have understood in compound interest in grade 8. The business grows, population of a city grows, my business is growing, right? Slowly I have started becoming old and now my son takes over my business, family business. So say the last year when I actually was doing this business, that year was 23 and 24, this fiscal year or financial year, my business grew annually at 6%. Have you understood? Next year, my son took over. So the son takes over, and the business grows at 2% for 2024-25. What do you understand by this? पहले तो ये बोलो, what do you understand by this? First understand this, then we will understand. Decline in the growth rate of the business. Can anybody explain what does it mean? What about the company's profitability?
Sir, it doesn't decline, sir. See, sir, after the son takes over from that money which was earned, from that 2% increase.
Anyone else?
Sir, business grows at 2%, is that annually?
सब कुछ annually है. End of the year the report was found out. Last year our growth was 6%. This year, after the year has ended, change of management, the growth has come at 2%. What do you think about the profitability of the business or loss of the business?
There's still profit. Yes.
ग्रोथ है. ग्रोथ के साथ आप जब पॉजिटिव लिख रहे हो, लंबा तो हुआ है, जिस रेट में होना चाहिए था उतना नहीं हुआ. Do you understand? This typically means that if this year the profit was something like this, then in this year the profit has come down, but we are still making profit. Have you understood? 2% का मतलब loss नहीं है. The business grows at 2%, the business is growing, but the growth factor has come down. Again, very decisive things. Look, earlier Arav used to score something in unit test out of 30, he used to score in the range of 10 to 12, right? He has started scoring now 27, 28. Next year, so how much is his growth? His growth will be 27 minus 10 divided by 30. That is his growth. Parents are very happy. बड़ा growth आया. अगला साल हमारा अरब 27 से 29 स्कोर करना स्टार्ट कर दिया है. Will the growth be high?
Sir, like they won't be a big, like they won't be.
No. So don't think mathematically. Use your common sense also. Our boy used to score below 10ish, and then he started scoring 27 marks in the test.
Sir,
कितना?
the growth is higher
The
before.
growth is very high. Now our son starts scoring around 29. What about his growth?
There is growth is less than earlier.
How do you justify that?
Sir, you can like.
Sir,
अरे लड़का 30 से ऊपर थोड़ी स्कोर करेगा. Are you understanding? 29 he is scoring now. How much more can he score? 30 score करेगा. See, don't get lost by this. Does not mean that the son has actually brought the business down. This is what in economics you will go for a toss. We are diverting, but still learn. You grew at 6%. This is the maximum profitability you can earn by opening a grocery store in Pebble City. Earlier you were earning somewhere here. The son आने के बाद हमने इसको कितना पे ले गए? Say the dad used to earn somewhere here, and the son has brought the level here. 2%. 2% will be over the last year, na? The dad did not do good in the previous year. Arav used to score 10. Now Arav started scoring 27. Growth is very high. Full marks in the test is only 30. Now he has scored 29. His parents can't expect this year also to see a bombarding growth. कितना growth दिखेगा? वो तो लिमिट हो जाएगा ना उसको एक. Are you understanding?
That's where extra credit.
हाँ, so percentage are all. This is how share market runs. Sir, profitability growth, there is a decline in growth rate. Hurry, your market is only this much. How much more can you do? Say for example, let's look at my sort of business. I teach children. How many classes per week? Per day? 2 classes. So in 7 days, how many possible classes? 14 classes. I did not have students in Pebble City. I had only 2 students, 2 batches. Then batches grew to 5 batches. Growth. Now say suppose I am operating at 13 batches. इसके बाद तो growth possible नहीं है ना? unless and until I bring more teachers and more classroom. I have fully utilized my resources. इस नजरिए से देखो ना, 14 classes is what maximum Jaideep Das you can teach. Buy, beg, borrow, steal. Can I teach more than that? नहीं ना. तो अगर कोई बोले ये last year Jaideep's growth rate was around 68%, this year he grew only 2%. You should ask at 68% what was his occupancy rate? Sir, his occupancy rate was 13 classes per week. Now how much can he occupy more? One more class. So he has grown by 1%. Should you invest in a company share like that? Please invest. He's doing very good. He's doing good. Fully occupied. और क्या चाहिए? समझ में आ रहा है? So percentage. चलो अब हम इसको ऐसे देखते हैं. Let's see now in this manner. Let's see acceleration now. Acceleration tells me about how the velocity is changing over time. That over time means if I analyze time from say t1 to t2, acceleration tells me how the velocity is changing from u to v. ये समझ में आया? This is what the acceleration tells you. Did you understand? If the acceleration is positive, that means what? That means v will always be greater than u, because there is a growth in the velocity over a period of time. Have you understood? If the acceleration is 0, then we will say whatever was the velocity here is the same velocity at here also. Means u, our v is still equal to u. अभी आप acceleration calculate करो, v minus u by whatever it is, t2 minus t1, t2 minus t1. So you will write u minus u by t2 minus t1, which is equal to 0. There is no growth. Cruise पे गाड़ी चल रहा है. You are not pressing the accelerator pedal. No acceleration. Now we have to see if the acceleration is negative. This is a scenario where v will be less than u. कार को ब्रेक किया जा रहा है. You are braking the car. Are you understanding? Then only the velocity will reduce. After all, what is our assumption? In this chapter, we have assumed that whatever is our body always moves in a straight line. Have you understood? Body can have an initial velocity and can also have a final velocity. Right? The scenarios can be initial velocity can be less than final velocity. Initial velocity can be equal to final velocity, and initial velocity can be more than final velocity. If this is the case, acceleration हो रहा है. If this is the case, acceleration is 0. If this is the case, acceleration will be negative. Means our velocity will slow down. Have you understood? Negative accelerations. So, can I rub this portion? Okay. Don't worry, हाँ इन सब चीजों को बहुत बहुत बार आप प्रॉब्लम करोगे जब पढ़ोगे. Need not worry at all. These are new concepts for you. So, negative acceleration, there is an English word for it called retardation. This is only treat this as an English word, okay? Retardation. In physics, when we do physics, we have only one word which is known as acceleration, and its value can be positive or negative. If you get negative, then you can use the word retardation.
Yeah, but it also comes under acceleration.
It is acceleration. In physics, we will always call it as acceleration. समझ में आया? There is nothing called hot or cold in physics. Minus 26 degrees, minus 24 degrees. These are two different temperature levels, we'll say. Based on that, you are thinking what is hot and what is cold. Generally, hot बोले तो क्या समझ में आता है? चाय. I give you ice cream at minus 26 and I am giving him one ice cream at minus 24. Which is a hotter ice cream? Sir, both are cold. No, the minus 24 is a hotter ice cream. Understood? यहाँ पे बच्चा गड़बड़ करेगा. Now look. Another name for this is deceleration. Acceleration, ACC, deceleration. So how do you get it in problem? The wordings. In problem, you must get vehicle retards at. So when we write retardation, we do not put the negative symbol. Now please pay attention here. Vehicle retards at 2 meter per second square. The question will come like this. Breaks baad mein. Vehicle retards. But there is no symbol for retardation because in physics we don't use the word retardation. We only go by acceleration because this is what we have defined. In such a case, we will write A equal to negative 2 meter per second square. Did you get it? We calculated a problem. And we got A is this. However, the question was said, what is the retardation of the vehicle? Suppose this was the question. Then we will write retardation. क्या लिखेंगे बोलो तो? Retardation is 2 meter. No, retardation के साथ कभी भी 2 नेगेटिव नहीं लिखने का. Retarded मतलब ही कि तुम मंद बुद्धि हो. You are a retarded. Retarded मतलब मंद बुद्धि हो ना. Retardation itself means less.
That's why you write it.
Yeah, loss की तरह है. हाँ. So now look at the thing. Once again, we calculated a problem and we got the value as A is equal to 2 meter per second square. Okay. Listen to me. We calculated a problem and we found A as 2 meter per second square. Suppose we were asked, what is the value of acceleration? We leave our answer as acceleration is 2 meter per second square. Is there a deceleration? No, sir, there is no deceleration. How can you say that, sir? Acceleration is positive. Is there a retardation? No, there is no retardation because acceleration is positive. What is the retardation in this case? No, sir, there is no retardation. Some teachers will say retardation is negative. No, retardation का कोई negative. Retard itself means तुम ढीला हो. Got it? We calculated a problem and we found A equal to minus 5 meter per second square. Question is, calculate the acceleration of the vehicle. How much will we write? The acceleration of the vehicle is negative 5 meter per second square, which means the vehicle is slowing down. Suppose the question was, what is the retard? Is the vehicle retarding or accelerating? The vehicle is retarding. What is the retardation of the vehicle? The vehicle is retarding at a rate of 5 meter per second square. We don't write minus in that case. हमको पूछा ही है कि कितना मंदबुद्धि है, इतना मंदबुद्धि है. हमको पूछा कितना बुद्धिमान है, तो हम बोलेंगे -5 बुद्धिमान है. बुद्धिमान तो है ही नहीं ना. Acceleration means wise guy. Retardation means ढीला guy. Simple. Understood? And is the velocity constant? No, the velocity is not constant. Because we are getting acceleration. Negative or positive is a separate thing. Once you get an acceleration, velocity is never constant. It is always changing. Is this much understood? Copy down whatever you would like to. In fact, I would have liked you to copy down. ये दो लिख लो एक बार और अपने मुंह से क्वेश्चन बना लो. Example, A is equal to 2 meter per second square and you write the questions. Is the vehicle accelerating? Yes. Is the vehicle retarding? No. Is the vehicle decelerating? No. चाहे तो कॉलम बना लो एक. डाउट्स आएंगे तभी ना डाउट क्लियर होगा. हाँ. 5 meter per second square. तो आप नहीं. हाँ. But with a negative. I am doing business at a growth of -5%. बाप ने जो कमाया हम उसको डुबा रहे हैं. बंद नहीं हो जाएंगे. देखो पिछले साल दिस इज कॉल्ड ब्रेक इवन इन बिजनेस. इसलिए ब्रेक इवन मतलब आप जानते हो, नो प्रॉफिट नो लॉस. अभी हमारे दादाजियों ने बहुत पैसा कमाया, हम लोग यहां पे है बिजनेस. राइट? हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? ओके. क्रिकेट देखते हो? ओके. As the stage when Kohli was batting and soon we had 2 wickets fallen, I was asking, run rate has slowed down. समझ में आया? Slowed down. और वहां पे और 2 आ जाएगा, विकेट गिर जाएगा ना. And that was the fall. This is called negative growth. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम 0 टोटल पोस्ट करके, हमारे बाप दादाओं ने बहुत स्कोर किया था, रोहित शर्मा वगैरह, हम उतना रेट पे स्कोर नहीं कर पाए. If we would have if we would have got as per Rohit Sharma and all, we should have ended our score somewhere here. But wickets fell. So here also there is a growth. But the growth is much less. हमारा less है. लेकिन यहाँ आने के बाद मेडन पे मेडन ओवर जा रहा है, नीचे गिर गया. लेकिन ये क्रिकेट में पॉसिबल नहीं है. Because your score can stay here. It can't come down. There's no negative scoring. But in business that is possible. Now we start making loss. So company comes here, 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 here. और जब यहाँ से नीचे जाएगा, we are paying out from our almaris.
So at that moment it is going less.
Everywhere it is going less. Negative means vehicle has started to slow down. जब आप नेगेटिव ग्रोथ रेट होगा, आपका फाइनल रिजल्ट हमेशा कम आएगा. I am traveling at 50 km per hour. I started applying the brakes. Is my velocity reducing? Yes. I am retarding? Yes. Is the acceleration negative? Yes. My final velocity will always be less than what is my current velocity. मैं 50 पे हूं, मेरे सामने गाय आ गया है, तो स्पीड तो कम होना है ना. The growth of speed falls down. That's why I'm asking you. What you do is, right now you do this thing. You write like this. A के वैल्यूज लिखो आप, ठीक है. आप खुद कॉलम बनाओ. इसका रिटार्डेशन का मीनिंग क्या है? राइट योर इंग्लिश सेंटेंसेस एज पर योर वर्ड. इसका डिसेलरेशन का मतलब क्या है? इसका एक्सेलरेशन का मतलब क्या है? एंड यू टेक द वैल्यू ऑफ ए एज 2 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर, 0 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर, -2 meter per second square, and you can also write final velocity versus initial velocity. What is that? Right? Make some columns and try to give your interpretation. तभी ना आपका understanding clear होगा. If you want to add something extra, add. Make columns. Try to understand. If A is negative, what is happening?
What's the difference between retardation and deceleration?
These are English words, not in physics. But you will get these words in your problem. हमारे फॉर्मूला में रिटार्डेशन नहीं आता है. हमारे फॉर्मूला में देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड डिसेलरेशन. हमारे फॉर्मूला में सिर्फ प्रॉफिट है. तो अगर आप लॉस कर रहे हो तो हम प्रॉफिट की वैल्यू क्या लेंगे? नेगेटिव. हम सिर्फ मैथ्स में प्रॉफिट जानते हैं. बट यू आर फ्रॉम द कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड, सो यू विल टॉक टू मी एज लॉस ऑल्सो. बट इन मैथमेटिक्स आई विल अगेन राइट दिस. यू बोलोगे यार 5 रुपया लॉस हो गया. मैं प्रॉब्लम कैसे करूंगा? P = -5. L का कोई जगह नहीं है मेरे पास फिजिक्स में. इन फिजिक्स आई ओनली नो एक्सेलरेशन, एक्सेलरेशन, एक्सेलरेशन. बट these two words will come and they will give the question like that. A vehicle retards. A business has posted a loss of 200 crore. So you will write given profit equal to -200 crore.
So these words will come in the problems.
But उसका
Retardation.
नहीं है. आप इसीलिए तो बोल रहा हूं ना, आप इसको भरो तब ना आपका क्लियर होगा. आप खुद भरो, एग्जाम्पल लो, एक एक्सेलरेशन का एग्जाम्पल लो और खुद भरो. नहीं, not this, the 2 meters, and also have some narration write up also. What does retardation mean? Okay, चलो मैं भरता हूं आपके लिए, then आपका क्लैरिटी आएगा. Just give me a minute, huh? चलो okay, let's see. Acceleration to be read in physics as a, to be read as a equal to v minus u by t. This is what is mathematics, and here we write retardation, and here we write deceleration, and here we write remarks so that we understand it. Number one, a is equal to 2 meter per second square. Retardation nil, deceleration nil. Remarks, velocity is increasing. V will always be greater than u. Correct?
Sir, if retardation and deceleration mean the same thing, why are we making two separate terms?
कल जाके अगर आप बोलोगे कि मेरे को डिसलेरेशन का मीनिंग नहीं आ रहा है, रिटार्ड ये तो पूछा भी ना अभी अभी, इज रिटार्डेशन एंड डिसलेरेशन सेम, तो क्लियर होना ठीक है ना. तो नंबर 2, a इज इक्वल टू 0 मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर, रिटार्डेशन नील. ओके, एक्सेलरेशन यहां भी नील ही हो गया, डिसलेरेशन नील. दिस मीन्स दिस इज velocity is uniform. Don't write constant, don't write constant, uniform. Constant means you are only having the magnitude constant. There's a difference between constant speed, constant velocity and uniform velocity. Velocity is uniform. Example, cruise drive on straight road. Use the word straight road, then only pictures become clear. Straight road. Cruise drive on straight road. Number 3, a is equal to negative 5 meter per second square. Retardation, yes. Okay, value is equal to 5 meter per second square. Deceleration, yes. Value is equal to 5 meter per second square. What is the remarks? Remarks, we will say velocity is decreasing. So example, brakes applied, okay, and here final velocity will be less than initial velocity. Okay, ultimately if business is going on making loss, one day you will come to break even. आपके पास और पैसा नहीं है अभी, ठीक है. Ultimately v will become 0.
Sir, in the second one, the initial velocity and the final velocity is equal, right?
Yeah, here we can write v is equal to u. Therefore, you are getting a as 0. What is the formula of a? v minus u by t. अभी देखो तो अंगद, कुछ चीज समझ में नहीं आया तो, and try to debate it in your mind. आप डिबेट करो, फिजिक्स पढ़ना है तो ऐसे ही try to see if I am wrong anywhere.
Sir, is there a difference between retardation and
Deceleration, English wise no, but in some question you may get the word retardation, some question deceleration. That's why I added both the words.
So, but they mean the same.
Okay, sir.
But they mean the same. They have only literature meaning, they don't have meaning in physics. Whatever, अभी एक चीज और देखो, if our question is given by column this or column this, we will take the question always by column A. Understood? Just sorry, I'm checking message because my wife is traveling and are we, huh?
Sir, can I figure?
Yeah, please.
Fill that one.
ठीक है, सो क्लियर है अभी अंगद?
Sir, I'm just trying to apply the cruise drive formula.
क्रूज ड्राइव फॉर्मूला मीन्स
Like if you're increasing your acceleration is suddenly the constants. I want to just
no sir, acceleration is suddenly constant means it will be like this. Say suppose you have an acceleration of 2 meter per second. Cruise means there is no acceleration. Acceleration will be zero. Are you getting it? Acceleration नहीं हो सकता है. Cruise का मतलब क्या है? If you are driving on cruise means if you are pressing the pedal एक ही जगह पे pressed है. ई नहीं कर सकते. ई किया तो एक्सेलरेट हो गया, छोड़ दिया तो रिटार्ड हो गया. गाड़ी ऐसे जाएगा.
velocity also.
हाँ, अभी वो भी देखेंगे. अभी ये समझ में आया? Now we'll see something different also. Can I grab this part? Okay. Now see a beautiful thing. Okay, so let's understand all the fellows that we saw so far, our actors of this chapter. Number one, our first actor was, as I told you, distance and speed are gone. One actor was displacement, S, correct? Our second actor was initial velocity, U. Third actor was final velocity. Now look, don't copy. Listen to me how I am writing. First actor was displacement. Second actor is initial velocity. Third actor is final velocity. Initial और final को आपने अलग से क्यों लिखा? क्योंकि सर वेलोसिटी का एक इनिशियल वैल्यू भी हो सकता है ड्यूरिंग एन इवेंट, एक फाइनल भी हो सकता है. मैं दौड़ना शुरू किया और फिर भागना शुरू किया तो मेरा फाइनल एक है. दैट मीन्स अगर वेलोसिटी का दो वैल्यूज है देन एक्सीलरेशन होना ही पड़ेगा. Negative positive is a different thing. If you have introduced a boy and a man, then there is a growth of the individual. Do you agree or not? He may be a dwarf or he may be a giant. That is a different story. You cannot rule out growth. And why am I saying every time growth? Because in mathematics we only know one thing, growth. If he's a dwarf, his growth is negative. If he's a giant, his growth is positive. You are understanding? You brought two sizes. That means growth is there. You brought two velocities. That means acceleration must be there. This is our fourth actor. And the fourth actor cannot come if the fifth actor, time, is not there. Because acceleration is v minus u divided by t. Yes or no? This brings us to what is known as the concept of Suvat. और इसके ऊपर हम equations पढ़ेंगे. And then we will say, when you get a problem, you should first say, is the problem qualifying to Suvat? If the problem does not qualify to Suvat, our approach will not solve this problem. Suvat होने के लिए क्या क्या चाहिए अब जरा सोचो. अभी आप चैप्टर को डिफाइन कर दोगे. चैप्टर का नाम पहले क्या था? See, look at the beauty of the chapter. Motion. हाँ नहीं अभी हम ठीक करेंगे उस चैप्टर को, और भी ठीक करेंगे. Our chapter as per NCERT was motion. Okay. If you want to solve, this chapter is all about Suvat. अब यहाँ ध्यान दो, छोड़ दो. Then displacement should be there. Means all the motion should be in a straight line. Otherwise displacement does not come in picture. So I am naming the chapter as motion in a straight line. Now look, velocity के कितने values दिया हुए हैं यहाँ पे? 2. Acceleration का कितना value दिया हुआ है? Is there a final acceleration and an initial acceleration in any of these problems? No, only one acceleration. Therefore, whenever this fellow is coming in any problem, this fellow will be taken as uniform. बात समझ में आ रहा है क्या है? If in a problem you get acceleration A is equal to 3 meter per second square, in the entire scenario of the problem, the acceleration stays at 3 meter per second square only. Understood? The acceleration won't change its value during the problem. That may change in grade 11, not in grade 9. Uniform acceleration. तो इसका मतलब between a startup point, our problems will be like this. There will be a startup point, final point. Distance is known as displacement, straight line. Initial velocity, final velocity. लेकिन ये पूरा इसमें acceleration अगर है तो एक ही वैल्यू में ऑकर करेगा. व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, दिस इज माय इनिशियल एंड दिस इज माय फाइनल. डिड यू गेट इट? आवर प्रॉब्लम विल बी इन दिस केस, initial, final. This path will be straight line. There can be an initial velocity and a final velocity. If that be the case, there is some acceleration. That acceleration will be uniform throughout this stretch. अब इसका मीनिंग समझने में टफ होगा आपको, ठीक है? Acceleration. So we name the chapter as uniformly accelerated motion in a straight line. This is the name of the chapter. ऐसा मोशन जो स्ट्रेट लाइन में होगा और वहां अगर कोई एक्सीलरेशन है तो वो यूनिफॉर्म रहेगा, चाहे वो जीरो क्यों ना हो, तो जीरो ही रहेगा पूरे प्रॉब्लम में. एक प्रॉब्लम में एक्सीलरेशन दो वैल्यू लेके नहीं आ सकता है आपके लिए. अगर आ गया ऐसा तो ये सुवैट अप्लाई नहीं होता है, क्योंकि सुवैट में दो दो ए नहीं है हमारे पास. Have you understood? In SUVAT, we do not have two A's. We have two V's. And you should say, sir, you have two V's. That's why you have a A. A is the child of two V's over a period of time. But you don't have two A's. Do you get it? Now let us understand the meaning of uniform acceleration. Chapter का नाम क्या हो गया? Uniformly accelerated motion in a straight line. Now you see everything is applied. Motion, that means something is moving. Straight line, S has come. Acceleration means U and V should be there and T should be there. Uniformly accelerated मतलब जो A है वो A ही रहेगा. उसके वैल्यूज हो सकते हैं -2, 0, 5, बट वो वैल्यू 5 ही रहेगा, वो चेंज नहीं होगा till you solve the whole problem. Did you understand? Now let us understand यूनिफॉर्म एक्सीलरेशन का मतलब क्या है. यूनिफॉर्म एक्सीलरेशन, नाउ सी, यूनिफॉर्म acceleration, again very stylish thing. Let's say uniform acceleration is, my uniform acceleration A is 1 meter per second square. How do I read it? 1 meter per second. प्रति सेकंड वेलोसिटी 1 मीटर पर सेकंड से बढ़ता जाएगा. Are you getting it? If I am driving a car or a bike, you know बाइक में ऐसे एक्सीलरेशन बढ़ता है. मेरा हाथ बाइक होने से कैसा होना चाहिए, मेरा पांव कैसा होना चाहिए इस केस में, मुझे ये बताइए. तो what should be my leg position? This is the accelerator pedal, okay, and here generally your shoe and your leg is there. This is your leg, this is the accelerator's position, right? This is the position and this is your leg. I am saying there is an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. How do you think the leg should be?
Like you have to pushing acceleration and like
Should it be stationary or should it be pushing?
pushing.
This should be pushing.
Because every
If you make it stationary, that means acceleration is 0.
It's increasing.
अगर हम, if I make it stationary, that means cruise vehicle, na? It's going like this. Oh, like this. So let's see that how. Let's take the feel. At first second, my speed is say my speed is say 20 meter per second. And the second my speed should be 21 meter per second. In the third second my speed should be 22 meters per second. In the fourth second my speed should be 23 meters per second. Are you understanding? When you see ads of bike and all, they will say 0 to 8 seconds. They'll say the power of the engine 0 to 8 meter per second square in 5 seconds. Means that is the rate of acceleration the bike can give. Let's say a bike is there which is traveling with an acceleration of 8 meter per second square. Just सोचो 8 meter per second square कितना भयानक हो जाता है. देखो, हाँ, suppose the bike is going at 40 meters per second. The next second the speed should be 48. The next should be 56. समझ में आ रहा है क्या स्पीड में बाइक जा रहा है?
every second.
Every second is increasing. This is with what bullets are shot. How missiles are fired. They will accelerate very fast. Jet engines accelerate करेगा, and their acceleration can span over the bandwidth of acceleration of a jet engine is very high. The bandwidth of acceleration of a bike is small. Bandwidth कितना accelerate कर सकते हो?
Like this,
Right? I can move my leg fast like this, but the stretchability of my bandwidth is less than a ballet dancer. वो और stretch कर जाएगा, वो धीरे धीरे करेगा, लेकिन जब तक वो पूरा खोल के आई हो जाएगा, मैं तो V position में ही रहूंगा ना. I understand now. That's why I said Yamaha will initially steal the show. After that, the BMW will pick up.
So what is beer?
The BMW is pronounced as BMW, not BMV. हम Indians बोलते हैं. That's not the correct pronunciation. जो vehicle है ना BMW, उसको हम BMW है वो actually. The pronunciation is BMW. So that BMW, whatever you say, उसका speed जो है वो जब पिकअप लेना शुरू करेगा, मोटरसाइकिल पीछे रह जाएगा. And by the time the jet engine takes, that's why the runways, the bigger aircraft, see the runways. Delhi airport has got a runway of 4840 meters, means 4 kilometers is the runway.
The plane has to accelerate.
Yes, so you can land all the bigger aircrafts out there. Hyderabad airport has got a bigger runway. But tomorrow if you go to a smaller place, you don't have that big. Suppose the Ranchi airport cannot handle इतना बड़ा cargo plane को handle नहीं कर सकता है. Or say that C300 Globemaster जो Indian Air Force के पास है ना, the big one that flies, that needs a big runway. Because उसका acceleration उतना है ना, तभी ना उसका final velocity उतना आएगा. Do you get it the point? ठीक है? Any questions now? In our next chapter, in our next class, we would be starting now with, and so now one topic can be, what is uniform acceleration? A body is set to travel with uniform acceleration if its velocity increases at a uniform rate. Uniform rate. And all our discussion in grade 9 will be on uniform acceleration. We do not encounter any non-uniform acceleration in our case.
So what about uniform velocity?
Uniform velocity, body has to first case travel in straight line. Straight line. And it has to cover equal distances in equal intervals of time, no matter how small the intervals are.
So we can say that acceleration is directly proportional to velocity, right? Can we say that?
Acceleration is
Directly proportional.
no, velocity will be proportional to acceleration. Velocity is the outcome of acceleration.
So velocity.
But it's the same thing.
Acceleration is directly proportional, means if acceleration, in that case you can say that if acceleration is more, velocity is more. Means in physics we don't say velocity in that case, the final velocity we will say. We will say the final.
How do you define acceleration?
Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. Rate of change of velocity. So if you want to understand higher level calculus, velocity is said to be the derivative of displacement. Acceleration is said to be the derivative of velocity. ये सब 11 में पढ़ोगे. Again इसको velocity को कैसे करेंगे? This is the derivative of ds by dt. Now एक जोक बोल के छोड़ देता हूँ आप लोगों को. देखो ds by dt. This is pronounced as what? d2s by dt2. ठीक है? और एक्सेलरेशन को हम कैसे ले? एक्सेलरेशन का भी एक रेट ऑफ चेंज होता है. ये क्वांटिटी को ना हम फिजिक्स में पढ़ते हैं, इंजीनियरिंग में पढ़ते हैं, ना ही हम क्लास में पढ़ते हैं. देयर इज अ क्वांटिटी देयर व्हिच इज रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ एक्सेलरेशन, हाई एंड फिजिक्स. इसका नाम क्या है पता है? हंसोगे अभी. इसका नाम है जर्क. दैट्स व्हाई इन सम, अच्छा अभी देखो, दैट्स व्हाई इसको जर्क, इसको करके देखो. दिस इज रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ एक्सेलरेशन. सो इट शुड बी d by dt of dv by dt, which should be d by dt of ds by dt. So it becomes d3s by dt cube. इसीलिए किसी के शर्ट में ग्राफिक प्रिंट रहता है, don't be a d3s by dt cube. Many people don't understand. और आपको बोल रहा है don't be a jerk. Is there? This design is available. This term is we don't study either in what you call higher secondary level or engineering or all. But if this क्यों उसको नाम name is like that. वो name का आपने खराब मीनिंग निकाल लिया है. That's why it's like that.
When do you learn it from?
If you learn it at suppose MSc level में आप पढ़ रहे हो physics वहाँ पे, but you do get some t-shirts. सुशांत सिंह राजपूत का एक t-shirt था. He used to wear that. Don't be a d3s by dt cube. That t-shirt is available. Basically is asking don't be a jerk. बहुत लोगों को ये समझ में नहीं आता ये क्या है. Third derivative of displacement is called jerk. First derivative of displacement is velocity. Second derivative of displacement is acceleration. Third derivative is jerk. So if you want to understand this thing in 11, dv ds by dt. So at this level you should at least understand delta s by delta t. इसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? ये कैलकुलस में जब आएगा, उसको समझने के लिए ये समझना जरूरी है. Rate of change of displacement is velocity, rate of change of velocity is acceleration, and rate of change of displacement is again acceleration. So grandfather, father, son, ये कौन है? डिस्प्लेसमेंट. फादर कौन बनता है? वेलोसिटी. सन कौन बनता है? एक्सीलरेशन. सो इन इंटीग्रल कैलकुलस व्हेन यू स्टार्ट इंटीग्रेटिंग एक्सीलरेशन यू विल गेट वेलोसिटी. इसको इंटीग्रेट किया तो डिस्प्लेसमेंट. इन डिफरेंशियल कैलकुलस इफ यू डिफरेंशिएट डिस्प्लेसमेंट यू गेट वेलोसिटी. इफ यू डिफरेंशिएट वेलोसिटी यू गेट एक्सीलरेशन. दादाजी, पिताजी, बेटा. ठीक है, इंटरेस्टिंग है. अगर आपका मन लग गया आपको बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. रियली इंटरेस्टिंग. Now when we do problems we'll take up lots interesting problem. We'll take up problems from class 11 books also. You should enjoy. ये क्या बेकार 22 मार्क का फिजिक्स पढ़ते हो यार, नॉनसेंस फिजिक्स, तो मजा ही नहीं आता. We'll take up foreign books, AP, US के AP फिजिक्स के प्रॉब्लम्स करेंगे हम लोग, उसमें मजा आएगा. ठीक है. So we'll close this today and next class we will go into our equations. I could have actually, I'll keep it. I could have actually finished it immediately in 5 classes में यहाँ आ सकता था, but that will not help you.